We are learning more about the protesters' actions that shut down both the Golden Gate Bridge and Interstate 880 for hours yesterday. KTVU's Christian Captain live tonight for us in San Francisco, where the DA's office is deciding whether or not to charge those demonstrators. Christian.
Yeah, we will get to what the DA had to say in just a moment. But first, you can see that there is a protest here in front of one of the county jails here in San Francisco. About 24 protesters calling for the release of those people arrested on the Golden Gate Bridge yesterday. And now the district attorney says that will happen sooner rather than later. For hours on Monday, protesters blocked access across the Golden Gate Bridge. California Highway Patrol eventually arrested more than 24 protesters on suspicion of blocking access across the bridge, failure to follow lawful orders, and conspiracy, a possible felony for working to coordinate the protests across the Bay Area and nationwide. Now, San Francisco's top prosecutor says her office has to release those suspects from jail, at least for now, since she faces a hard deadline to charge them or release them.
Unfortunately, in order for us to make a decision on what would normally be the 48-hour clock, it would not be sufficient legally. And so it puts us having to make the decision today. I know that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to folks, but unfortunately, because they were arrested before 4 p.m. yesterday, it moves up the clock a bit.
District Attorney Brooke Jenkins says the California Highway Patrol still has to turn over evidence pertaining to the case, including video of the suspects on the bridge. And her office needs to then evaluate that evidence for each of the more than 24 suspects and decide if her office will prosecute the protesters.
We do expect this to take at the very least several days because, again, it's not only the gathering of the evidence and the presentation to this office, but it's also my office's ability to review the evidence as it relates to 26 different suspects.
David Levine teaches at the University of California School of Law in San Francisco. He says the law is clear that people can protest, but that when they block roads or bridges, they're breaking the law.
By choosing to protest on a bridge, they've obstructed other people. These other people are not able to go about their business as they choose. They may or may not be sympathetic to that cause, but you can't impose the cause on other people.
Outside of San Francisco's county jail, protesters called for the release of those arrested for blocking the bridge.
Protesters there were taken in, arrested, and actually charged with an egregious trumped-up felony charge, and as a result were held overnight. So we are here today demanding their release. It's been over 24 hours that they've been in the jail.
Now, the DA here in San Francisco also discussed the Bay Bridge protesters from November, many of whom received diversion as part of their plea deal. Now, the DA says that was a deal that was worked out between the defendants and the judge, and that if these latest cases from the Golden Gate Bridge are prosecuted as misdemeanors, this new batch of defendants from the Golden Gate Bridge could work out a similar deal with another judge. And she says the decision on whether and how to prosecute these latest protesters is at least, again, several days away. We're live in San Francisco. Christian Captain, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
I mean, the CHP seemed pretty adamant yesterday that they wanted these individuals charged with felonies, Christian. Did you get a sense at all today from the DA whether or not she was leaning towards misdemeanors or felonies, if indeed there were charges going to be filed here in the future?
Well, and I think that's really what she's looking to get at, Mike. She says that she needs to see the evidence. Now, the conspiracy charge, that would be the felony. If there was a work between multiple people to try to pull off these series of misdemeanors, that could be a felony. In the parlance that they use, they call it a wobbler. It could either be a misdemeanor or a felony. The DA telling me today when we asked her about that she really does need to see the evidence from CHP, and then she has to have her investigators look at it and determine exactly what happened before proceeding on how to charge them, whether to charge those arrested with misdemeanors or felonies.
That makes sense. Got to see all the evidence first. All right. Christian Captain live tonight in San Francisco. Christian, thank you. We did reach out to the Alameda County DA's office today to see if any of the 12 protesters arrested for shutting down Interstate 880 will be charged. We have not yet heard back.